That's from your school?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you sing in school?
I don't know what song it is.
I am thankful.
For our food, for our food.
Very, very thankful
for our food.
For our food. Welcome to a very special episode of Hot Marriage Cool Parents. I am your host, Jamie Otis.
And this is an ad.
This is not an ad.
This is not an ad. I'm Doug Hehner, and we are joined by our beautiful 6-year-old daughter, Henley.
Henley, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
I feel like a lot of people who are listening right now have probably been praying for you and cheering for you since you were just a little baby in mommy's belly.
And for those of you that have been with us since our early episodes, you've definitely heard Henley breastfeeding on the podcast.
Yeah, that's probably true. Henley,
That's 100% true.
Doug, her face right now. She's like, what, Dad?
What?
But
that's how you used to get fed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Henley's home from school this week, as you probably know. Doug, is that
Don't
like
do that.
affecting the audio?
No, just talking to
Just
it.
talk to it regular, okay?
Test.
Yeah, so you're fine. Can you hear us okay, Henley? This is going well.
So Henley's home from school this week because of Thanksgiving week, and she wanted to, I was like, we got the podcast, so she could sit and watch TV, or she could play a game, and she decided she was going to come be our special guest on the podcast this week. We have never had a better guest.
That's right. And we have a very special request for Henley, because right now I hear that one of our listeners is actually Santa. Santa listens to our podcast.
He does?
So,
oh my gosh, can
this
you believe
is your
that?
opportunity to tell Santa what you want for Christmas and maybe what you think your brother wants for Christmas.
Because right now, Rexy, he has strep throat and he's taking a nap, right? But he feels so much better today, right? Oh my gosh, can you believe Santa's listening,
I know,
Henley?
seriously.
I can't believe that. Hi, Santa.
What I want for Christmas is a snow cone maker, a Furby, and a Barbie camper.
What's a Furby?
A Furby is something like you say something and then he just talks while you do it.
So it's like a parrot? Don't parrots repeat what you say?
It's kind of like a parrot.
Henley, if you could say anything to Santa, because you know he's listening right now, what would you want to say to him?
Can I check out all the toys that you're doing?
Yeah.
And get some candy canes.
And get some candy canes.
Do you want to tell him thank you for all the work that he does?
Thank you for all the work that you do.
And for the presents that maybe you got in the past?
Thank you.
What about, would you want him to share with his elves anything?
Yes. I want to go to the elf's workshop and see.
That would be awesome.
What if Chippy's listening?
Chippy is her elf who is at the North Pole right now.
Yes.
But he should be coming pretty soon, right, Henley?
In 30 days.
Well, 30
Probably
days.
less than that.
30 days is Christmas. We have a countdown in our house, right? And Henley's in charge of changing the amount of days. So right now it's 30 days until Christmas, but Chippy comes December 1st.
So that's like 6 days.
So that's like a couple days away. That's
6 days?
6 days.
Yeah.
So where is a good hiding spot for Chippy to come back on his first day?
Maybe in the basket.
there's a basket in here.
Yeah, but how would you find him?
Yeah.
You normally don't come in here.
Well, maybe I'll go like this. If we check everywhere in the room, maybe I'll go, this is the last room. He has to be in here. So then I will look at the basket first, and he's in there. So that's what I would do.
Okay.
So Henley, this week was all about Thanksgiving because we had Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a couple things that you're thankful for?
I am thankful for... Let me go get it.
What are you going to go get? Oh, she's getting a book.
Yeah.
You're thankful for...
This book.
So let's explain what the book is. So Henley and Hendrix were
at a fairy enchanted
fairy studio where they got to be dressed up and put into a magical book to become a fairy princess with wings. And Hendrix was
that's my brother.
Yeah. And he was someone that had a sword and fights off dragons. What would you call him? A knight, maybe? A knight without the armor.
Why are you thankful for that, Henley?
This is me. I'm just thankful about that because I love my little brother.
Oh, that's nice. Can I tell you a few things that I'm thankful for?
Oh, I want to hear.
I'm thankful for the life that we have. I'm thankful for you being in our lives, Henley and Hendrix, because you guys are so special and mean so much to me. I'm thankful for Mommy, who was my first love in this family of ours. And I'm thankful for the life that we have, and I'm thankful for the life that we are going to live.
Me too. Can I tell you what I'm thankful for, Gracie? She's like, well, I think you're going to anyway, so you may as well start. Right, Henley?
Yes.
Okay. I'm really, really thankful for you and your brother and Daddy.
And also I'm thankful for the people that are in our lives and our families.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Everybody that helps out with our house. And I'm thankful for
Doug,
your teacher. Henley, what is your favorite part about school?
I never actually said this before, but actually it's math.
Math?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Why is math your favorite?
Because I just get to do hard stuff on it and easy stuff on it. And sometimes there's actually games on math.
Like
you
counting
like that?
And adding?
Yeah.
That was my least favorite subject, so I'm glad that that's your favorite. My favorite subject was English. I love learning about English. And history. I love history too.
History was fun. I like science and gym.
I didn't even have
Or
gym.
PE. That's what you call it, is PE.
Yeah, we called it PE or gym back in the day, but now you guys call it PE, physical education.
And now, Henley, a lot of questions that came in were they want to know what your favorite part about our RV adventure was.
Sorry, honey.
So, Henley, what was your favorite part about the RV adventure that we went on?
My favorite part of it is...
Do you remember our RV adventure? Do you remember?
Being so bored in the car.
How is that your favorite part? How is that your favorite part?
That's what our daughter remembers after we spent 4 months traveling across America, seeing some of the greatest sights.
You didn't?
It was 4 months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Oh my God.
You didn't like the mountains. You didn't like the trails. You didn't like any
Her
of the
favorite,
states.
all she remembers is being bored in the car.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh, okay. So I have this
you.
book, and it is a this or that, and I think this will be really fun to do with you, Henley Grace, because I'm curious about this, and also I'm just so excited to have this moment documented for all the life. So wait, Henley,
that's Mommy's microphone.
is there anything else that you wanted to tell Santa before we wrap up our conversation with Santa? Because he's listening to this podcast right now, so you can tell him anything you want to tell him. And we don't always get a direct line to Santa.
That's true.
Santa, if I go into the North Pole, can you bring me to the North Pole? Because I really want to meet your elves.
You really want to meet the elves? What else do you want to do at the North Pole?
I want to ride your sleigh.
That would be a lot of fun.
We got to watch. So Rexy got sick.
Meet Mrs. Claus.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. So Rexy got sick, right? He got a fever and he has strep throat. So we cuddled on the couch and we watched the Santa Claus, right, Gracie?
With Tim Allen. It's an older movie.
And so I think that now she's hoping that, do you think that she said this morning we walked out and she goes, Mom, do we have a chimney? And I said, well, we do have a chimney because we have a fireplace. But I said, even Santa can go into homes without chimneys, right, Henley? Because we saw that.
But we have a chimney without a chimney.
No, we have a chimney.
There's a chimney there.
You just don't see it because it's kind of on the other side of the house. But we have a fireplace. Every fireplace has to have a chimney, and we have a chimney. But wouldn't it be so fun if Daddy, if Santa fell off our roof and Daddy became Santa Claus?
No.
Yes, it would.
No, it would not.
He would grow a beard and a big belly.
That'd be one way for me to finally gain weight.
So I have a fun little game of this or that with Henley Grace Hehner and my husband. Henley Grace, real fast before you go out to go watch your show, would you prefer, oh my gosh, they have Meghan Markle or Kate Middleton. I absolutely hate it when people peg women against each other, or even, men are never pegged against each other. It's literally always just women.
I like...
Henley goes, don't say hate. Okay.
I say Kate Middleton.
I really dislike this. I like Meghan Markle just because I want to even the playing field. I don't know. I don't know which one. I think that they both... I just do not like it when they choose people over people. Okay. So, Henley Grace, these are the questions. So this is a book that I'm reading. It's called 3000 Pick One Questions. And do you prefer purple or green grapes, Henley Grace?
Green. April.
She's just like me.
Curly hair or straight hair?
Straight.
Straight? You have curly hair though, and it's beautiful.
I like curly.
Oh, I like curly. Okay, jelly beans or gummy bears?
Jelly beans.
Ooh, really? You like
champagne or wine?
She's like, what is that? How about drums or guitar?
Guitar.
Swimming pool or the ocean?
Ocean.
Let her decide, Doug.
Lake.
Lake?
What?
Whoa, my 6-year-old is so smart.
Good for you.
Henley Hehner. Do you like rainy days or sunny days?
Sunny.
Do you like to go for a bicycle ride or a ride on your scooter?
Scooter.
Braids or ponytail?
Braids.
Minnie Mouse or Daisy Duck? That's tough. I was gonna say that's a tough one for you, right? Do you like let's see, what else do we have here?
Last one.
Park. Do you like to go to the park or do you prefer to go to the beach? It's a tough one too, huh? Do you like to go to the park or the beach?
She's trying to think of a different answer to say. The lake.
Just like her father.
The lake.
Just like her father. What do you think, Henley?
Stay home.
What? I don't even believe that.
You're being
I thought she was going to say Disney.
All right, well, say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Henley.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love you guys.
We'll see you later.
See you later.
Say happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good one.
Happy Christmas.
Good for you. All right, Henley.
Okay, Gracie girl.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You're so sweet. All right.
Well, that went well.
That was so cute. I love hearing what she had to say to Santa. The one thing I am trying to get to work on more with both of our children is gratitude, because I feel like I just really think that you get to choose whether or not you want to live a happy life. And I think that it doesn't come from what you have or what you get. It literally comes from being thankful for what you already have. Like, even if it seems like not enough. And so one thing I've noticed with our daughter is that
we've been trying to do that at dinner time.
Yeah, we have been. Like, one thing that we've started to do for our tradition in our family is every night at dinner, we talk about our POWs or our WOWs. And so the POWs are something that's really hard or sad or difficult. And
that happened for that particular day.
Yeah, every single day we talk about this. And then our WOWs are something that made us really happy or excited, or, we're just like glad for. And so, and this is such a great conversational thing too, because I feel like when the POW comes out, sometimes it's like something that I wouldn't know, like it happened at school or something. And so I wouldn't even know to ask about it. So that's a really great tradition that we've started. And then the other thing that we do is every night before bed, we pray to God and we just say what we're thankful for. And sometimes Henley, will be really tired and not want to say a whole lot. And she'll say, I'm thankful for sleep. And sometimes, and she'll say that many nights in a row. And I'm okay with that because she's still saying I'm thankful for. Yep. And I really think that when you have this wired in your brain to think about what you're thankful for, I'm just praying that it helps combat depression and anxiety later on in life, because I really struggled with What? It's really hard to podcast when you have kids in the house. Yeah. But
we try to include them, but I don't think they're at that stage yet where they can.
Yeah, Henley really wanted to podcast for about 2 minutes, and then she was like, okay, I'm out now. She'd rather play the game. But
you know what's so interesting though is that this room is a room that we always close this office space up, and it's a room that the kids, like, if you don't hear them and you're calling for them, you can't find them. They're usually in here,
which is our office where we podcast,
playing with the microphones and the sound effects and everything else.
They always want to be on the podcast, and I kind of feel a little bad that Hendrix is sleeping during this time.
Yeah,
because
it's it's just interesting because it's one of the things that we always say no to, and then they're drawn to this.
Well, that's kids for you.
And that's everybody.
Any kid, yeah. But I do feel kind of bad that Hendrix doesn't get his moment. Like, we'll have to find a time where he can come be on the podcast. Actually, was he on last week? A little bit, right?
Oh no, well we heard him at the intro of here and last week, so
yeah, that's true.
He's kind of part of it.
I know, but like he would be thrilled to be able to, I don't know, ask Santa what he wants and things like that
we
too.
Should have him next week. But I do want to talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving, and then I also looked up because I genuinely think, and I fall into this being the oldest child. Trying to avoid having your kid be spoiled.
I know.
So I looked up one of the top ways to avoid raising a spoiled kid.
You did?
Yes. And so I want to read off them and see which ones that we do and which ones that we don't do.
Okay.
And, but first, I do want to give a 5-star review shout out.
Yeah. So this week's 5-star review is super meaningful and heartfelt to me. So I just wanted to say to Sierra Sullivan, just thank you so much for leaving this 5-star review. All the 5-star reviews, mean an awful lot, but this one in particular is just like really touching and heartfelt. And so I just wanted to say thank you for opening up and sharing with me, and for, of course, the 5-star review.
Yeah. And there were a bunch, there was a bunch of new ones, which is amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for those of you who took time out of your busy, especially during the holidays, to just leave us a review wherever you're listening. That is seriously so kind. We're really thankful for that.
So this one says, let go and let God. Jamie and Doug, I absolutely love y'all. I can't tell you how therapeutic listening to y'all talk is for me. Jamie, please don't feel bad about having a rough and prolonged postpartum time. It took me 10 years to get help for my postpartum depression. My youngest, 2 in January, truly saved me because it was finally when I got pregnant with him, despite having an IUD, that I finally sought out help. It was the most debilitating time of my life. Between me feeling alone, my marriage falling apart, intensely drinking to numb the pain, and then a second unplanned pregnancy, I was spiraling. After having my first son at 20 years old, my depression caused me to push any and all friends I had away. The shame I felt from being a young, unmarried mom took over my life. So when you talk about not having a community, I completely understand. I still to this day search for friends, and it's so hard when you have been stuck in a way of doing things and isolating myself. But hearing about how you consistently try and your journey with that, it honestly makes me want to continue to try. Thank you so much for being yourself, being raw, and sharing your spiritual journey.
Oh my goodness. That really is just so touching to me because, first of all, I just want you to know that even though you're, 20 years old with your first baby and it's unplanned and you're not married, that child is so important and you are so important. And I just want you to know that you're worthy and you're enough just exactly as you are right there in that moment. And I know it's so hard to believe those words when you're in the thick of it. I remember when I was younger too. And, even when I was your age, or at 20 years old, I should say, because you're not still 20. But when I was 20, I had custody of my siblings and I felt kind of worthless. I felt like no one would want to date me. No one would want to be around me. No one would want to be my friend because I had all this baggage. But yeah, I also felt simultaneously so thankful to have my siblings, that they weren't in foster care, that we had each other. I mean, pardon me, but in many ways, in many ways, I feel like my siblings and I helped raise each other in a sense. And so I'm sure for you with having your own child, I'm sure that of course you're raising your child, but that child has helped raise you in a sense. And so I feel like we can be so hard on ourselves at times, and we can look at our circumstances and kind of just only see the hard, the difficult, the negative. But instead, if we can try to switch our mind and change our thinking into the blessings that we've received, and sure, blessing, it's not always easy, but it is such a blessing that you have that child. And I'm sorry that you pushed your friends away. And I'm sorry if some friends went away, because I know that happens sometimes too. But if you find the people who love you and gravitate towards you, that will help with the depression and anxiety. And also it comes down to just you knowing that you're worthy regardless of anything else. Like, you being you are worthy enough. And same with your child and now your children.
Well, I relate to this story so much, not with having the kids and the IUD part and things like that, obviously, but I had such a strong community growing up, family, friends. Like I have we had the tightest group of friends. Like I still have friends from kindergarten. Like, we've all stayed together. It's very rare where all your best friends growing up we're in Florida now, but everybody's in New Jersey, and we all stay in touch. We all still try to get together. But, when I went through addiction, like, that is completely isolating. Like, I not only hid that from my family, but I hid it from my friends as much as I could. I was living with my best friend, Tim, and I would hide it from him. I was always the person that would be the life of the party, that would be the captain of a sports team. And, I never had to look for help. I never had to go somewhere for guidance. It always seemed like I was the person people were coming to for guidance. And, when you start to isolate yourself like that, you get so used to being with yourself. And it's almost like at one point, being in my room, especially if I was going through withdrawals or anything, like, just being in my room was kind of like that blanket that you would wrap yourself in. You wouldn't want to leave your room. You wouldn't want anybody to see you. You wouldn't want to be around anybody. And you never give people a chance to see you, love you, help you when you don't help. Like, that's the terrible part about isolating yourself, is with addiction or depression or anything. When you become isolated, you live in your own head, and I'm sure, I know you were, Sierra, you were talking about pushing your friends away and isolating yourself. Maybe they felt that, but I'm sure that they would have accepted you at that time too. But it's so difficult to make that jump, because you start to get in your head and you start to believe yourself that you're this type of person. No one's gonna, you push people away so much that they're just not gonna accept you back. There's no forgiveness. There's this, there's that. You start to make excuses in your head. And, eventually when you come out and you get all that baggage out and you reveal yourself, you just be yourself to people, that's when your community can start to be built. Because honestly, until I came to terms with my addiction and just being okay talking about it, like, I'm noticing a community starting to be built around me. Like, it's pretty profound.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. And I have to say, the biggest thing is that what you tell yourself, I know I talk about this a lot, but it's so true. Like, what you tell yourself is what you will believe. The same thing with our children. What we tell our kids, if you tell your kid every single day that they're strong and they're brave and that they're courageous and that they don't give up, they can seek out the answer, they start to believe these things about themselves. And it's the same for us as adults. I feel like in a lot of ways, becoming a parent and trying to do my absolute best to raise my children has kind of like helped me raise my own inner child and be gentle with my own inner child. And not only me, but like my mom has come around a lot now. Like, she reached out for Thanksgiving and she had like, a little episode, but like, she's just really trying her absolute best and she's really doing great. And so not only am I learning to like raise my kids in a healthy way, or at least I'm trying to, but I'm learning to kind of like how to better take care of my own self, like in my own thought, in my own headspace, like in my own mind, but also my mom, who, has been forever searching for like love, feeling valid, feeling worthy, feeling like she's enough. And of course she doesn't. And so she would go to like, drugs to cope and to numb the pain and whatnot. And it's amazing how God, I feel like, has been able to take me having children to help me learn how to be a good mom, but also to help me learn how to love myself and to help me learn how to love my mom and help her learn how to love herself. I know that sounds like a lot, but
it's almost like full circle.
It's literally happening as we talk. Like, I mean, I like the other day, my mom spiraled. She struggles with bipolar, and she was, and she's like, not shy at all about this. Like I think the reason that I'm so open and strong and brave is because my mom is very open, strong, and brave. Like, truly, I mean, she would share anything with anyone if she knew it would help them. And I really think that I get that from my mother. And so anyway, she was talking about how she hasn't been on medication for her bipolar in a really long time. And there's a lot of different reasons, but lately she had, she can sense when she's starting to go from the manic phase to the depression phase. And she definitely hit the depression phase and was like basically saying that us kids don't need her around. And, and it was, my siblings were so amazing that they really just like, were like, what are you talking about? Like, we love you. And what's going on right now, Mom? Like, my sisters were like kind of scared that she was going to commit suicide or something. Just that the way she texted, it was like kind of hard to tell. But the most amazing thing happened is that my mom reached out to me. And of course, all of my mom and my sisters, and my brother, they all live up in New York and I live in Florida. So I'm a little separated and I was a little bit further behind on this. And my mom reached out to me and said, I don't even remember exactly what she said, but I was able to like no longer be so emotionally like hurt and like, I don't know, invested in it all, but kind of taking a step back and trying to be like my mom's friend and be able to see that like, this is a woman that has been hurt her whole life. What can I say to her that's going to help her realize that she's loved and that she's worthy, that she's not disrupting our lives and, all of these things. And so,
well, it took you a while where, the feeling that I always got, especially in the beginning, was anything your mom tried to do or say, you took it personal. Like took it as a personal attack or just you held on to a grudge.
Such resentment.
Every time we went up there.
It was very bitter.
It was like this knot inside of you that would unravel when she was around. But that's sort of gone away, which is nice.
It's unbelievable. And I really can only give credit to God because I don't know how it's happened, but where I've been able to kind of, since having children myself, just kind of look at like what my mom went through as a child. I wouldn't wish that upon any child. And then look at what she went through as a young adult, having so many children and having no support system. Now as a mom, only having 2 kids and having a great husband, and I don't have a strong support system, but even just having a partner. I mean, we don't really have now, like we have nobody other than just us, but having just a partner who is loving, supportive, and nurturing and there, who can pick up the slack, that is everything. And my mom had none of that. As a matter of fact, her partner would beat her up. And so I'm like,
and I mean, even the person, I mean, it was eye-opening going up there, and because you kind of get into what your mom was like before, and I got a glimpse of that when we went for when your grandma had passed away.
Yeah, and
just talking to the man that she called stepdad or dad.
She still calls him dad. Yeah,
just the life and the trauma that happened with that, because
he physically abused her, and he basically said to Doug and I that she asked for it. And when I say physically, I meant like sexually abused her, and not physically. And when it's just a lot. And so there's a lot to unravel with all of that, but all of this to say, like right off from Sarah, like, you and how you're feeling is valid, but don't let yourself lie to yourself. There's such a good saying, and it's that our mind can lie to us. Our thoughts can lie to us. And sometimes we think that we're not good enough. We think that we're not worthy. We think that we've messed up or that we're so bad and that no one could love us. We think these things. And we have to be able to recognize the thought first to be able to stop it and to be like, no, That's not true, actually. Like, this is just me being insecure. It's me being anxious. It's me being depressed. And truly, like, if that's what's going on in our heads over and over again, then we need to go see a doctor. And if your heart wasn't working right, you would take medication. If your brain's not working right, it's okay to take medication. I'm not saying that's the first thing you should do, and I definitely recommend talking to a doctor and not just listening to our podcast. But I would say, without a doubt, like, go to your doctor and talk to them about how you're feeling. Talk to a therapist. I can't talk about therapy enough. I mean, it's so important
for the both of us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I see Rexaboo just woke up. He's like
peeking his head over.
Rexy, do you want to come say hi? Guess what? Santa's on this podcast. Hendrix, come here. Do you want to come tell Santa what you want for Christmas? Come here. What, baby?
So Hendrix just woke up from a nap, as you can kind of tell.
Yeah, the sweet boy just woke up, and this little one has strep throat.
Yeah, how did your throat feel?
This is your first time on Mommy and Daddy's podcast like this.
Does your throat feel better, though?
Yeah. Why are you whispering?
Hendrix, you could talk regular. Here.
Yeah.
Here. Watch what happens. Watch what happens when you talk. Watch what happens when you talk regular. Go ahead.
Just talk like me.
Can you say, I? No. I.
We have a dog.
Yeah, maybe we.
Okay, so wait a second. Hendrix, Santa is listening. So you have to tell him. What would you want to tell Santa if you knew he was listening?
Race cars.
Race cars? What you want? Can you say, "Dear Santa, I've been a good boy, and this is what I would like this year."
And I want Mario Driver.
Mario Driver? Like a Mario Kart?
A Mario Driver and a race car.
Mario Driver and a race car.
That's what I want.
And what else?
Dinosaur egg.
What if it hatches? Then we have a dinosaur living in our house?
Yeah. I want something for Christmas.
Henley thought of something else that she wants to add.
I want a unicorn egg.
A unicorn egg, okay.
Wow, Hendrix. That's pretty cool, right?
Hendrix, what are you thankful for?
Race car and Mario Kart and dinosaur egg.
That's what you're thankful for?
Uh-huh.
I'm thankful for Hendrix. I'm thankful for you. His face is so dry.
I know. I've been putting lotion on it because his poor face is so dry. He's got like eczema all over his face.
Your cheeks look puffy.
But someone's feeling a lot better.
I guess so.
The amoxicillin kicked in, and this kid is back to new. How's your throat feel? Does your mouth feel good?
I guess so.
I guess so. That is so sweet. Hendrix is literally the cutest little nugget, and I'm so glad he's feeling better.
So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to one of my new favorite sponsors, Marine Layer. And
Doug has not stopped wearing his new shirts and pants this past week.
I got a full outfit on right now.
But I'm not going to lie. His new Marine Layer shirts are some of the softest clothes in his closet. Like I have some Marine Layer shirts. I'm literally wearing one actually myself.
Yeah.
They're so comfortable.
And so I got Saturday pants, which are kind of like a comfy sort of stretchy khaki pants, but I wear them all the time now. I got a couple graphic tees, but my absolute favorite, which I am going to wear every day, is the Sport Waffle hoodie. And
he has been wearing it every day.
They have a ton of vintage and bright color ski inspired type options. And let's not forget the super hot top that Jamie has on right now.
Thank you. No, I'm obsessed with the full length Bridget pants that I got, and we don't have a winter down here in Florida, but you have to check out their puffer jackets and vests. They have beanies and socks, and you can literally get all of your clothes shopping for the holidays all done at Marine Layer.
And they have free shipping and returns for an entire year, no questions asked. So you don't have to worry about getting something for someone and getting the wrong size, color, or anything like that.
Because they can literally, if they get a present from you from Marine Layer, they can literally send it back and exchange it for a different size, a different color. And
if you drill down on some of the clothing options for you, they'll actually give you the size and weight of the model wearing it and different sizes and lengths. So it's really, really super easy to shop.
It's a great Christmas gift idea, but you have to make sure that you order by December 18th to get it before Christmas.
And I think we can all admit that great gifts can certainly be hard to find, especially when it comes to clothes.
But look no further than Marine Layer. For a limited time, you'll get 15% off at marinelayer.com/HMCP15.
That's MARINELAYER.com/HMCP15 for 15% off your entire order, saving your closet one shirt at a time.
Honestly, it's a really, really great company with great customer service, and the clothes are comfortable and soft, totally worth buying. But let's get back to it.
All right,
we just got our kids settled down, but we really wanted to talk about the unspoiling of, or not spoiling your kids, because Doug researched that. And we are all just trying to, parenting doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't come with any sort of instructions. And so we're constantly...
But there are some good tips out there.
Yeah, we're constantly trying to research the best tips. And of course, I think that everything you should take for your family, and don't take everything. I used to be the kind of person that if a published author wrote something, then it's gotta be true. It's gotta be right. I would never question it. And it's well, wait a minute. What works for Joe may not work for Bob, and that's okay.
That's what you notice when you first become parents. Before you're parents, you get all this advice, and then everybody tells you what they did with their kid. And then when you have a kid, it's totally different from a lot of the people's advice.
And what worked for Sally doesn't work for Susan. No. And for us, what worked when we were raising Henley does not work as we raise Hendrix just a couple years later. And so everything comes, I think, with a grain of salt. And I think it's so important to know that. But what'd you find out about unspoiling kids?
Yeah, so it's been a long weekend for the kids because they've been out of school for Thanksgiving. And we were talking about how Henley seems to just say no to things. And when we ask her to do something, if it doesn't go her way, she lashes out, she cries, she whines, or storms off, or stomps her foot.
A typical 6-year-old, I would say.
But
we don't want that to continue, of course. And
exactly.
If we don't do something about it now, then we're scared that we don't want this to, just continue on. It's not okay for her to.
We want to nip it in the butt.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, because I don't have a lot of experience with that, because I was probably a very spoiled kid, being the oldest child in my family. But there are some pretty good tips.
I'll tell you what.
There's only 8.
My mom made sure that we were all grateful. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
We may not have had the most cookie cutter lifestyle, but my mom did not spoil us. Well, there was no money to spoil us, but she would also just enforce our gratitude.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, my parents were always great about teaching good manners and being respectful and saying thank you to other people. So, but this is to either prevent spoiling a kid or to help unspoil your kid. So first and foremost, praise good behavior. So as parents, we tend to focus on the bad behavior. I mean, that's the behavior that we notice the most, is when things go wrong.
Or at least that's what we respond to a lot, because you're like, no, don't do that. Whereas if they're sitting down, listening and being good, you're like, okay, good. This is good. I can go do something else. But when they're not, then you're like, excuse me, what are you doing?
So they are saying that positive behavior brings positive results. So if you notice your kid doing something that's positive, or you want to encourage that behavior
rather than focusing on the negative, because then whatever you're focusing on is what's going to be encouraged.
Yes. So when you see your child being well behaved, encourage him or her by showering her with attention, praise, play, and respect. And one example, this morning we went for a walk and I was with Henley and Hendrix, and Henley said she was cold. Hendrix's first reaction was, "Do you want my sweater?" And he put his arm around her without even thinking about it. It didn't take him a second. He offered his shirt, and then he went to go cover her legs up because she said her legs were cold. And so I wanted to make sure that I really gave him a lot of praise for that.
But in that same exact moment, Henley was like, no. And she just like moved on.
Yeah.
And I think that like one thing we're trying to nurture as parents is like for her to recognize like that is so kind of her brother to be literally willing to give the shirt off his back at 3 years old. I'm like, where does this boy come from? He's the sweetest.
I know.
But like instead of her just being like, no, I'm fine, and keep on going on, like, wait a minute, Henley, like your little brother was willing to give you, his shirt and he wanted to make sure you were warm. Like, wow, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next one on the list is connect with respect. So one of the best ways to avoid problems is to be empathetic with your child's needs so that he or she knows you care. So this is connecting with your child, repeating their needs back to them, and then kind of once your child calms down, offering them options. Would you like a hug, or would you like a snack, or would you like to do something else? So it's kind of getting on the same page as your kid.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that we didn't learn growing up. Like, I don't think that was in any of our parents. I don't know about for you listening, but for Doug and I, like our parents weren't like, oh, let's show our children respect. It was like, they better respect me. I'm the adult. That was just a generation, you know?
I mean, how hard is it to be, like when we say to Henley, like, pick that up, and she'll say, no, you pick it up. And then how hard is it to not flip out?
Well, she doesn't say, she does not say that.
I'm just giving an example.
Yeah, if she said that to us, we would be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess like what I mean by that is, so like if Henley was to say, I don't want to do that, please don't make me do that. Like maybe it's, I don't know.
Or if we say no to ice cream and she flips out and goes, I'm not sitting with the family anymore. I'm not talking to you anymore.
Well, she does do that sometimes. Like recently, it's really interesting how a 6-year-old could act like a teenager so quickly. But what we're trying to do, like the other day she really did that. And so then what I did was like, we were just like kind of arguing back and forth, like, come sit at the table. You need to be with us for dinner. Like, let's have a family dinner. And then it really just wasn't working. Like she wasn't feeling her. She wasn't feeling heard. She wasn't feeling respected. And so eventually what I did was I literally picked her up. I brought her to her bedroom. So we were kind of out of that environment. And I said, Henley, I think you need a hug. And she was like, kind of looked at me like, no, I don't, and just like sat in her bed. But then I said, can you tell me how you're feeling right now? Just cause I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm like, what we were doing at the dinner table wasn't working. It really wasn't helping her calm down. It wasn't encouraging her to be with us as a family. And so I was like, let me just take her out and let her know that I'm trying to be there for her. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to understand. Yeah. And I'm like, how do parents with teenagers do this? Because this is a 6-year-old. I can't imagine it with a teenager, but we're trying to learn these things now so that we know what we're doing later. And so if you have any good tips on that, feel free to leave a little DM or a comment and let us know, because, we're just trying the best we can. But I realized that the whole connect with respect thing, that really does work. So like when I took her to her bedroom and I said, I think you need a hug. And she was kind of like not interested in giving me a hug because she was, angry about whatever. And then when I finally got her to start talking about it, she leaned into me and gave me a hug, and it just felt so good. So anyways.
Well, one of the things that stood out to me, and before we move on, is by correcting your child with a positive statement, he or she will feel more respected. So not often where you think of respect as being one of the things that your child would feel, but they could obviously feel that. Set guidelines for your child. So do you feel like we have good guidelines?
I think we are really struggling here. I don't think we have.
Here's what it says.
Okay.
So as parents, we want to think of little kids as mini adults.
Yeah.
When they're actually more similar to cavemen.
So let's see what it says. Okay, it literally says it's a common misconception that kids are like little adults, when in fact, they're actually more similar to cavemen.
They exhibit lots of primitive behaviors like grunting, biting, or peeing anywhere that they want.
That's true.
It makes a lot of sense.
However, part of your job as a parent is to teach your child social values like respect and kindness so he can become a civilized member of society. Teach him to say please when he wants a snack, and remind him not to call people hurtful names when they upset him. I think to go further than that, though, is like the guidelines thing, like having standards and boundaries and expectations. I like crave that as an adult, and children absolutely crave that. And, I'm not a child psychologist or anything, but from like the books and the different things that I've read and whatnot, it's like kids feel safer when they know what to expect next. And so when you have guidelines and boundaries, that's just so beneficial for your children. However, all of that said, we don't do the best job at that. I can just say that right now. Like, we try to stick to a schedule. This is exactly why we're not traveling for Christmas or Thanksgiving, because our guidelines and boundaries, well, like, they're out the window, like, the whole time we're so basically all of November and December was basically just rushing around
one state to the next.
Yeah. Like, packing for the trip, planning for the trip. How are we going to see everybody? I mean, it was just a whole lot. So, that's one thing that we're trying to work on.
Yeah. Well, the next one is pick rules that you can enforce. So when it comes to parenting, you win some, you lose some. Not only will it save you time and energy if you know what battles you can and can't win, you'll also teach your child that he or she can't disobey you.
But the thing about this that I think is really, really important, and one thing we learned when we were starting to listen to the Taking Care of Babies course, was that you have to, like, your word is gold.
It's as good as gold.
You really can't say, well, then, if you do that, then I'm taking away the tablet, and then they do it and you don't take away the tablet. Well, then they're just going to continue to do it again and again, because you're like threatening something, but you're not following through your actions. And then they feel like they can't, almost like they can't trust what you're saying is going to be true no matter what, because they're kids. They don't know the difference. So if you're constantly saying, if you do that, then I'm going to do this, and then you don't do whatever you said you're going to do after they did that behavior, well, then you may as well just like look like a miming monkey, because to them,
miming monkey.
Yeah, because like then they're like, well, she's not going to do what she said she's going to do anyway, so I'll just do whatever the heck I want.
Yeah. Well,
and that's another thing that we have to work on, because we'll say, one thing, and I'll say, if you do that again, Henley, then we're going to leave. And then she does it again, and I'm like, Henley Grace, don't you do it again, or we're going to leave. And I should have just left the first time, because I said, if you do that again, we're going to leave.
Yeah.
And
well, one of the examples that they give is, you can, like, candy is a reward, and you can enforce a rule where if you don't do this, then you don't get candy, or even just the Paw Patrol box. I think what the battles that they're talking about where you're not winning is when you say something like eat broccoli.
Yeah.
Your child has the opportunity to close their mouth, spit it out, not chew it, just be grossed out by it. Like, that's a battle that you're most likely going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So to try to fight your kid to eat broccoli when they detest it and they just won't taste it, that's a losing battle. So instead of having that as a loss, find a compromise.
What's the compromise? Because this is literally us at dinner with Henley.
It's
Hendrix loves broccoli.
Yeah, it's something that you get your kid to agree with. So it's just finding,
instead of having broccoli, you can have a banana.
Yeah, finding a common ground where they feel like they won. The argument almost.
Well, that's another thing that they always say is like, give them choices. So both the choices you're okay with, but they get to choose which one they want. So for example, do you want broccoli or do you want spinach tonight with dinner? Either one we're happy with, but they feel in control because they get to choose. Yes. I'm having spinach instead of broccoli, so I chose this. Yeah. And that feels good to us as adults, but also to little kids.
And so the next one is also near and dear to us because it says reward your child for the right reasons. So a great time to reward your child with a present is when he or she has been cooperative and respectful, and you explain to them that you're giving them the present because of their behavior.
Which we do that with our Paw Patrol box. It's called the Paw Patrol box because it's literally Paw Patrol, but it's like a treasure chest essentially. And every time they sleep in their bed all night long, then they get a prize. And they know that if they don't, then they don't get a prize. Like this morning, like Hendrix slept in our bed last night and he's sick. And so I kind of feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, he should be in our bed. He doesn't feel good. He wants to be with his parents. But he still didn't get the Paw Patrol because he knows that he has to sleep in his bed all night long. And the minute he said, do I get the Paw Patrol? And I said, no, you were in our bed. He looked at me with like that smile and he was like, oh, she knows. Yeah. And so like, then they start to really believe what you're saying too. Because if I said, well, you were sick, so it's okay. But then he's like, well, then maybe I can find a different way to get the Paw Patrol box with like changing the rules, And so.
Yeah. Well, and so this one also applies to the holiday season. So buying a gift for your child out of guilt diminishes the joy and excitement of the gift because he or she knows you didn't really mean it. So just keep that in mind when you're rewarding with gifts.
Yeah.
The next one, which I need to work on a lot, is teach your child to be patient. So children tend to be impulsive as well as some
us adults.
But by teaching your child the practice of patience, stretching, he or she will begin to expect to wait when he or she wants something.
Here's how to do it. When your child asks for something, you can teach her patience by making her wait for it. First, almost give her what she wants, but right before you do, hold up your fingers and say, wait, just 1 second, while you turn around and pretend to look for something. Then, after a few seconds, turn back and immediately give her what she wants, while praising her for good waiting. This technique rewards your child's patience and builds her trust in you because you followed through.
It's like teaching your dog not to bite the treat until you tell them to. It's exactly the same thing.
Dog training, kid training, it's all the same.
Yes.
Husband training, it's all the same.
And last but not least, be a role model for your child.
This is a hard one because children really do follow what you do, and they also follow what you say. But 9 times out of 10, if you say, like for example, earlier today, I said I hate something, and I told Henley we don't use the word hate. And literally right here in this podcast, if you go back and you listen closely, I said, I hate how they pair women against each other. And she goes, Mommy, we don't say hate. And it's like, I'm supposed to be a good role model for my daughter. Like I tell her not to use that word because it's a strong, hateful word. Like there's no need to use hate. We can say I dislike. Yeah. And she literally caught me like, how is she going to listen to me if I don't listen to myself? If I'm not doing exactly what I want her to be able to do?
Well, it says the proverb is right. They do what you do, not what you say.
And that is so true.
And so if you're whining and complaining in front of your child will no doubt copy you.
Do you think I whine and complain a lot?
No, that's what the text says. So.
I feel like I'm being called out.
Of course not. You are perfect.
Well, if you are a parent who's like listening to this, like, oh my goodness, well, I am sitting there with your girlfriend.
Yes,
so.
And any other tips, tricks, or any other methods.
We're wide open ears over here.
Parenting wins, parenting fails. We want to hear about it. So let us know.
I'm so glad that Hendrix is feeling better. And it just feels so good that we're together this year as a family and we're not rushing from place to place to place.
Yeah, this was our first Thanksgiving all by ourselves. No traveling, nobody over, no family. This is going to be our very first Christmas in our new house. And again, we're not traveling anywhere. We're not having family or anything.
And that's really hard to do because I know that
it was tough to say.
It's disappointing when you tell your whole family that you usually go. I mean, we literally will fly up to go see Doug's family. We'll be there for a night, and then we'll drive up to my family in New York, which is like 4 to 5 hours away. We'll be there for a couple nights. I'm going to drive back 4 or 5 hours back to New Jersey, spend a couple more. I mean, we are just literally traveling 24/7. Then by the time we get back, Henley starts school, our work lives start, and there's just no rest. It is exhausting. Anyways, so it's been really nice this year. We just decided I've been really working on boundaries and what's good for us as a family as a whole, and it's been amazing. Like our Thanksgiving, it was so relaxing and calm and quiet. I mean, Doug did a great job making the turkey. I did a terrible job making pumpkin pie, spilled it all over the kitchen floor. But it was like, those are the things that like we'll remember for the rest of our lives. Same with podcasting with children today. It's been an interesting one, but I hope that you like it. It's just a real podcast. This is our real life. We've never pretended to be anything other than what we are. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Say bye. I love you. Hendrix was trying to sing. Wait, Hendrix, can you say bye? I love you. Can you say bye? I love you.
Bye.
I love you.